There is a system in Japan that quietly turns ordinary people into something terrifyingly powerful. Not motivated, not inspired, but unbreakable. And the most dangerous part? This system is so small, so simple, so unimpressive, that your brain will immediately reject it. You'll hear it and think, this can't possibly work, until it does, until it rewires your identity. Let me ask you something. Do you struggle with discipline? Do you start things with excitement and abandon them weeks later? Studying for an exam, starting a business, training your body, fixing your life. You want to change, but you never stay long enough to become someone new. Because discipline is the invisible bridge between who you are and who you want to be. And undisciplined people? They live their entire lives on the wrong side of that bridge. They dream, they plan, they talk, but they never arrive. You probably know someone like this. Maybe it's the guy who changes jobs every 3 months, or the person who can't maintain a relationship, or someone who starts every project with passion and quits the moment it gets uncomfortable. From the outside, it looks like laziness, but it's not. It's something deeper. It's inconsistency. And in Japan, there is a system designed to destroy that flaw at its core. Not with motivation, not with hype, not with massive change, but with something far more dangerous. Tiny actions repeated without interruption. This system combines 2 Japanese principles. Shitsuke, the art of creating systems so simple that failure becomes almost impossible. And Gaman, the ability to endure discomfort without running from it. Alone, they are powerful. Together, they rebuild people from the inside out. But there's a price. You'll have to start so small that your ego feels offended. So small that other people might laugh. And you'll have to continue on days when every cell in your body screams to stop. Before we go deeper, take 1 second. Before we go deeper, take 1 second. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. And comment the one area of your life where you need consistency the most. Because this video might quietly change that area forever. Chapter 1. Rock Bottom. This story begins in a tiny, depressing apartment in Detroit. A 30-year-old man named William sat on the floor, holding a resignation letter. His 4th resignation in 2 years. William wasn't stupid. He wasn't lazy in the obvious sense. But he had a brutal problem. He couldn't stick to anything. Every job followed the same pattern. Week 1, perfect employee. Week 2, late arrivals. Week 3, absences. Week 4, fired or quit before being fired. It happened again, and again, and again. He tried to train for a marathon 3 times. First attempt, 2 days. Second attempt, 1 week. Third attempt, never started. Just bought the shoes and left them in the box. 6 months earlier, his girlfriend left him. Her final words cut deeper than any insult. You never finish anything, William. You can't even stay in a difficult conversation. That night, sitting on the floor of that miserable apartment, something hit him. Pattern. 30 years of life. 0 completed commitments. Nothing built. Nothing sustained. His bank account showed $847. Rent was overdue, and the truth became unavoidable. He was the problem. William didn't sleep that night. He didn't look for motivation. He didn't watch inspirational videos. He researched one thing only: how disciplined people think. That's when he found an article about Japanese factories. Toyota, 5S methodology, and the final pillar, Shitsuke. Workers following the same systems for decades, without burning out. William laughed. That's impossible, he thought. No human can do the same thing for that long. But he kept reading. And then he discovered something that shattered everything he believed. These workers weren't disciplined because they were strong. They didn't rely on willpower. They relied on design. And suddenly, William saw his own life clearly. Every morning was a war. Get up or sleep more. Go to work or call in sick. Train or skip today. Every decision drained him, and he always lost. Because he was fighting with willpower inside an environment designed to make him fail. But another concept appeared beside Shitsuke. Gaman, the Japanese ability to endure discomfort without complaining. In Japan, children are taught something radical. Discomfort is not an emergency. Pain does not control you. Feeling bad doesn't mean you stop. William realized he had lived the opposite way for 30 years. Cold? Stop. Tired? Quit. Uncomfortable? Escape. That night, with $847 and nothing left to lose, William made a decision. He would rebuild his life. But this time, he would start embarrassingly small. The embarrassing beginning. William had always dreamed of owning his own business. Not because he wanted luxury, but because he couldn't survive under authority. Bosses frustrated him. Rules irritated him. He always believed he could do things better. He had an entrepreneur's mind trapped inside an undisciplined body. Every time he thought about starting a business, his brain created a movie. A big office, employees, investors, complex plans. And every time he froze. Too big, too risky, too overwhelming. Then he remembered Shitsuke. Big beginnings demand big discipline. And he didn't have that yet. So he did something that hurt his ego. He started ridiculously small. William decided to create a consulting business. But instead of chasing big clients, he made one rule. Send 5 emails per day. Not 10. Not 20. 5. So small that failure would be embarrassing. And to guarantee consistency, he redesigned his environment. Every night, he left his laptop on the kitchen table. Contacts folder already open. Coffee cup ready. No phone. No distractions. At 6 a.m., there were no decisions. Sit down. Open laptop. Send 5 emails. That was the system. Felt stupid. Which meant it was perfect. The first test. Day 1. 5 emails sent. 20 minutes. No motivation. No excitement. But something new appeared. Pride. He said he'd do it. And he did it. Day 2. His mind attacked him. You did it yesterday. Skipping today won't matter. 5 emails won't change your life anyway. This was the negotiation. William remembered Gaman. Discomfort is not an emergency. He didn't want to do it. But not wanting to wasn't a valid reason to stop. He sent the emails. Day 3. Day 4. Day 5. Resistance every morning. Action every morning. No results. And that was the point. Week 1. 25 emails. 0 replies. Week 2. 25 more emails. 1 reply. Not interested. Week 3. 2 replies. Both negative. The old voice returned. This is pointless. You're wasting your time. You always quit. Why pretend this time is different? But something had changed. For the first time in his life, William was doing what he promised without seeing results. The action itself became the reward. Then, day 23. 1 email changed everything. A small local business needed basic consulting. Payment. $300. William celebrated like he'd won the lottery. Not because of the money, but because consistency had proven itself. He did the work. The client was happy. The client referred him. The emails continued. Week 6, 2 clients. Week 8, 4 clients. Week 10, 7 clients. Eventually, he had to stop emailing. There was no time left. In 3 months, William was earning more than he ever had at a job. Not because he was special, because he was consistent. Chapter 2. The first obstacle. Then reality hit. Month 4. 1 major client canceled without warning. 40% of his income disappeared overnight. The old mind screamed, "See? This never works. You should have stayed safe." But William had something new. Evidence. The system worked before, so he trusted it again. He didn't panic. He adapted. Emails increased from 5 to 10 per day. 2 weeks later, 3 new clients. 1 month later, higher income than before. The obstacle wasn't the end. It was just a test. And William learned a critical lesson. Problems never stop. They only change shape. Consistency isn't avoiding problems. It's surviving them. The second battle, the body. With business stable, William faced his next enemy. His body. 30 years old. Smoker. Drinker. Completely sedentary. Every past attempt failed the same way. Extreme workouts. Extreme diets. Extreme promises. And total collapse within days. This time, he started humiliatingly small. Run 400 meters per day. 1 lap around the block. People laughed. 400 meters? That's nothing. Perfect. Because easy is sustainable. Running when it hurts. Day 1. Lungs burning. Legs shaking. 400 meters felt like death. But he finished. Day 2. Sore. Tired. Negotiation again. You already proved yourself. Gaman answered. Discomfort isn't danger. He ran. Day 3. Rain. His favorite excuse. Warm house. Cold street. Then he remembered Zen monks. The practice doesn't negotiate with weather. He ran in the rain. Wet. Cold. Miserable. And proud. The magic of adaptation. Week 1, 7 runs. Week 2, 7 more. Week 3, no longer torture. Week 4, automatic. No weight loss. No transformation. But something priceless happened. 30 consecutive days without quitting. Month 2, 800 meters. Month 3, 1.2 kilometers. Month 4, 2 kilometers. Month 6, 5 kilometers. People asked, "When's the marathon?" William replied, "I'm not training for a race. I'm training to be consistent." 9 months later, 10 kilometers runs. 3 times a week. When the system breaks. By the 9th month, William's life looked unrecognizable. The business was stable. The body was changing. The habits were solid. Then came the real test. Not failure. Not laziness. But chaos. Chapter 3. The greatest obstacle. In month 10, William received an offer. A large project. Good money. But it required a 3-week trip to another state. No familiar streets. No routine. No controlled environment. This was dangerous. Everything he had built depended on structure. The old William would have reacted in one of 2 ways. Option 1, reject the opportunity out of fear. Option 2, accept it and use the trip as an excuse to quit everything. But this was not the old William. He accepted the project. And then he adapted the system. Discipline that travels. No street to run on. The hotel had a treadmill. No morning routine. Wake up 1 hour earlier. No kitchen table with the laptop. Work from the hotel room before anything else. That's when William realized something critical. Shitsuke isn't about perfect conditions. It's about redesigning systems wherever you land. The first week was brutal. Different time zones. Different schedules. More resistance. But he didn't stop. He ran every day. He sent emails every day. The second week felt smoother. By the third week, something shocking happened. He no longer needed the environment. The discipline had moved inside him. The real difference. When William returned home, he understood the truth. Shitsuke builds external structure. Gaman builds internal strength. You start with systems. But every day you push through resistance. Gaman is being forged silently. On days you don't want to act. On mornings when your body fights back. That's when identity changes. Evidence creates confidence. 1 year after starting. More income in 1 month than 6 months before. 10 consistent clients. Over 800 kilometers run. 0 broken streaks. But the biggest change wasn't numbers. It was confidence. Not arrogance. Evidence-based confidence. He did what he said he would do. That changed everything. Clients trusted him. Opportunities found him. People relied on him. In a world full of talkers, finishers become magnets. Automation over willpower. A behavioral psychologist once said, Every decision drains mental energy. High performers eliminate decisions, not push harder. William finally understood. Discipline isn't strength. It's design. Chapter 4. The True Transformation. 18 months in, stable business, healthy body, clear mind. But the biggest shift? He no longer broke. When people asked for his secret, he said, "I started so small I couldn't fail. And I never stopped." 5 emails became a business. 400 meters became 10 kilometers. Not through intensity, through irritating consistency. Who you become. William didn't become famous. He didn't become rich overnight. He built something far rarer. Self-trust. When you trust yourself, life stops being heavy. He also noticed something else. His social circle changed. People who wanted shortcuts disappeared. People who respected the process appeared. Growth is selective, and consistency filters everything. The moment of realization. 2 years later, at a party, he saw his ex-girlfriend. She looked at him and said, "You're not the same person." She was right. The man who quit everything no longer existed. He had kept only 2 things: emails, running, and those 2 habits taught him how to keep anything. The philosophy of unbreakable discipline. William didn't discover discipline. He reverse-engineered it. And what he learned applies to anyone who has ever said, "I'll start tomorrow." Rule 1. Start so small it hurts your ego. If your goal doesn't feel embarrassingly easy, it's too big. William started with 5 emails, a 400-meter run. Not because they were impressive, but because they were sustainable. Most people chase 3 days of glory, then drown in months of shame. William chose months of invisible progress and earned years of results. Rule 2. Consistency beats intensity. 1 perfect workout won't change you. 800 imperfect ones will. William never had the ideal routine. He had presence. A little every day beats a lot once. Always. Rule 3. Remove friction. Every decision costs energy. So eliminate decisions. Laptop open. Contacts ready. Shoes beside the bed. Execution should be automatic. Discipline isn't pushing harder. It's making failure inconvenient. Rule 4. When the system fails, Gaman takes over. There will be days you don't want to continue. That's normal. That's where Gaman lives. Not wanting to is not a reason to stop. Not being able to is a reason to adapt. Sick day? Walk instead of run. Exhausted? Send 3 emails instead of 5. Never quit. Never reset. Rule 5. Obstacles are the rule. Clients will cancel. Schedules will break. Life will interfere. Consistency isn't performing in perfect conditions. It's continuing in broken ones. Rule 6. Progress is invisible for a long time. 3 weeks of emails. 0 replies. 1 month of running. No visible change. That doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the foundation is forming. The results arrive after the identity shifts. Rule 7. Scale only after identity forms. Most people build skyscrapers without foundations. William built the base first. Then he scaled. Effort without identity collapses. Rule 8. Never create gaps. A single 0 day seems harmless. It isn't. Gaps are doors. Old versions of you crawl back through them. Do less if needed, but do something. Rule 9. The beginning is always awful. Every worthwhile start hurts. That's not a warning sign. That's confirmation. If it were easy, everyone would do it. Rule 10. You are building identity, not habits. William wasn't trying to send emails. He was becoming an entrepreneur. He wasn't running. He was becoming an athlete. Every action was a vote. After enough votes, the election was over. Identity replaced motivation. The final shift. Motivation is emotional. Identity is permanent. When you act from identity, you don't negotiate. You execute. Legacy. dignity, and the man who no longer broke. William's story doesn't end with money. That would be too small. The most meaningful transformation came after success. Chapter 6: The Legacy. With his life finally stable, William did something unexpected. He started mentoring young men from his community. Boys aged 18, 19, no direction, no discipline, no belief. They were exactly where he once was. He didn't motivate them. He didn't inspire them. He gave them a rule. Choose one small thing. Do it every day for 90 days. That's it. No speeches. No hype. Most didn't finish. But the ones who did changed completely. The power of small promises. One boy chose 10 push-ups per day. It sounded stupid. 6 months later, he was training seriously. 1 year later, he joined the army. Not because push-ups changed his body, because they changed who he believed he was. Another boy chose to read 5 pages a day. 1 year later, he had finished 12 books. He had never finished one before. 5 pages didn't change his intelligence. They changed his identity. The real discovery. William realized something profound. This system isn't about productivity. It's about dignity. When you break promises to yourself, you lose self-respect. You stop trusting yourself.